This is Talk Star Wars, the official podcast of talkstarwars.co.uk. Hello everyone, welcome back to Talk Star Wars. I'm Mark.
I'm Stephen.
And I'm Paul.
And we're Robless this week.
Yeah, the end came early.
Because he's skiving. He's on holiday with his good lady, well, not wife, I won't marry him off just yet, but him and Jen are on holiday, so he is being missed by us actively right now.
He's in Endor, cycling and stuff.
He is. He's acting as a
He's
Wookiee.
gone to Centre Parks.
He's big wicketing.
He's
he
big
has?
wicketing, yeah.
Okay.
No, he's not in Centre Parks. He is overseas, I think. We won't divulge his location because his fans might go looking for him. You know, he's
terrible. They catch planes to catch him.
He's a big deal. So he keeps telling me. He's a big wicket. All right, before we jump into the review section, I'm going to just get a few thank yous out of the way this week. So I want to say thank you to Stephen Nelson for liking the Facebook page. And thanks to Ryan Bullock, Adam Stabelli, and Realm of the Mist Ent. Splendid name. All of those fine people subscribe to us on YouTube. So thank you very much for your support. Cool. That is a really cool name, isn't it? Realm of the Mist Ent. Excellent stuff. Gentlemen, how are we this week?
Headache.
You've not been feeling very well today, have you, Steve?
Top of the world, Mark.
An awful back. I'm working from home with a bad back. And I've got an headache without any ache.
For the guy with the healthiest diet I know, the healthiest lifestyle I know, the most environmental man I know, and ever will probably know, he's always sick.
Yeah.
No, I haven't had a day off sick for 5 years, and I haven't had one today. I've been working from home. I just can't move.
Oh, I work from home permanently anyway.
I feel fine. I've had a bad back ever since I was drunk and fell off the curb when I was 17, and it's got progressively worse. And I'm
curbs are bad. Is that what you're saying? Drink's fine.
They are when you're jumping up and down them in a drunken stupor with straight legs. And then I thought, I think something just went. And then I was off. I was literally in bed for 2 months at 17. So it wasn't good.
You come to Talk Star Wars for the Star Wars chat and you get valuable life lessons like that.
You do.
You do.
Don't drink and curb.
But the best thing you can do for a bad back is touch your toes. That's what I've learned in all those years. That's it. That's the whole thing. You just keep trying to touch your toes and you'll all help it. That's my advice to anyone with a bad back.
Don't wish to interrupt, but I'm really excited about this week's review, Mark.
Yes, let's get into the review section.
Nice segue, Paul.
Yeah, I think we'll
seamless.
I know the Ron Burgundy guarantee suggests that I will read everything, but I think I might be passing this along this week. So
you might have a special guest star this week.
Don't forget that you can take advantage.
Am I being taken advantage of?
Not at all.
I bet I freaking am.
Don't forget that you can take advantage of our Ron Burgundy policy. That means whatever you write in a 5-star review, I or one of my colleagues will read verbatim. So if you want to promote your podcast or blog...
Where's one of my colleagues come into it? I don't remember that.
There's an amendment. This is where, if you want to promote your podcast or your blog, this is where to do it. There's only one rule, keep it clean. Steve, would you mind reading this week's review?
Just saw it. Hi, my name is Steve so that's wrong.
Hang on. Well, let's go back to the start. It has a title.
Much better than anything by James Cameron, 5 stars by Calistine. They've even got my moniker in there. Hi, my name is Steve, and I recently realised that I was wrong to even suggest Avatar was as good as Star Wars. James Cameron peaked when he made Piranha 2, in my view, his finest work. Unfortunately, James Cameron is led by the studios, unlike Lucasfilm.
Well, hang on a minute. Look, if you're going to do this, do it with feeling and gusto. You're supposed to be a professional podcaster.
You wouldn't sing, Ricky.
The guarantee says read. It doesn't say sing. Right, let's take it from he has decided.
You'll make me do it again.
I will make you go from the start.
I will go from the start. Hi, my name is Steve.
I'll read it when he's gone to bed.
And I have recently realised that I was wrong to even suggest Avatar was as good as Star Wars. James Cameron peaked when he made Piran 2, in my view, his finest work. Unfortunately, James Cameron is led by the studios, unlike Lucasfilm. He has decided to make another 478 Avatar movies, not to push the boundaries of cinema, but to make himself even more rich. And all of his studio executive buddies are in on it. Avatar was just about Big Blue Space Cat, and unless you watched it in 3D, it was just another movie. With Star Wars, you don't need the gimmick of 3D. It's just an enjoyable movie series. I would much rather watch any of the Star Wars prequels than Avatar. It's such a shame that James Cameron is not a visionary like George Lucas was, or J.J. Abrams is now. J.J. has done something amazing by taking the Star Wars saga and improving it by shredding the deadwood of the aging actors and passing the torch to a newer, better, younger generation. Quite frankly, I'm glad Han Solo was killed off. Anyway, listen to this podcast. It's great. Buy a T-shirt as well. Long live and prosper.
Well done, Steve. That last line you may or may not be familiar with is actually "Live long and prosper" from another well-known Star franchise. Well done, sir. Well done. And whoever wrote that, congratulations.
Sounds like a tip.
May you get a big boil on your willy.
We have just had a message from Rob saying have a good show. So thanks for that, Rob.
Tell him he's a scumbag from me.
That wasn't him. He didn't do that. I don't know who did that, but we're not going to call him.
Oh, no, I know that wasn't him. I'm just saying, tell him he's a scumbag.
Oh, right, just in general. I'm
just
not going to
generally.
Okay, let's move into listener comms. Thank you for that 5-star review, Calistine, and that was genius in many ways. Okay, listener comms. You can send your questions and comments via Twitter or Facebook, or you can send us an email with an MP3 attached as a voicemail to talkstarwarsinfo@gmail.com. That's talkstarwarsinfo@gmail.com. The first email we had this week was from our dear friend Matt Keegan. And I have written a little note there that says, Bespin, get some love. Hi, guys. This isn't a question, just a topic for discussion. Everyone knows that Tatooine is a place of importance in the Star Wars saga, as so much takes place there. I, however, wanted to shine a light on another place that I believe is important to the story thematically. I'm talking about Bespin. For a lot of us, The Empire Strikes Back is held with a worthy high regard as being one of, if not the best Star Wars movie to date. I certainly feel that way. And in breaking down the movie, it is the events that take place on Bespin which draw me in. It's not just the visuals, but more importantly, the convergence of all of our heroes and villains' stories. Here we see Luke seeking out Vader, not running from him. He fails miserably and is wounded for such impetuousness. That's a difficult word to say. He loses his father's lightsaber, an heirloom he cherishes, and a physical link to his old mentor, Ben Kenobi. He also learns the truth about who he really is. It is on Bespin where Vader draws Luke out in the hope of convincing him to join him. We also see Vader show that he is not the all-powerful during the battle with his son. Han and Leia confirm their feelings for each other, and Han is lowered into the carbon freezing chamber. Leia is also at her most weakest, something we have not seen from her yet, although this is only brief as she fights her way out in an attempt to save Han later. We are introduced to Lando, who betrays his friend and then tries to earn their trust back. He loses everything and goes from businessman to rebel. We also see Boba Fett, recently introduced on the Executor, take one of our heroes away. His fate is unknown to us. The Bounty Hunter shows us a grey side to the galaxy, which primarily has been black and white, good versus evil, in the movie which preceded it. Sure, there are other parts of the movie that are brilliant, like Yoda and the Hoth battle, but to me, Cloud City is what makes Empire. It's the convergence of all the main storylines and the changes our heroes go through within this heavenly city, which makes it so good. It is like a rebirth for them. Everyone comes out different from these encounters, except for Fett. He's cool at the start and he's cool at the end. Food for thought, Matt. So I really like that. And Matt, as we know, is absolutely sharp as a tack because he's writing a really quality book at the moment. So how important is Bespin to Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back's popularity? And is the design of Bespin significant in any way? And we'll get to that last bit in a minute.
Bespin is probably 3 or 4 of my favourite scenes in absolutely everything. Everything.
Well, all movies, even outside of Star Wars?
I'd almost go that far as well, yeah. I love the Bespin stuff. Seriously love the Bespin stuff. I've got to be honest. I'm going to go very, very on the points railway line here and take a bit of a sidetrack. Soundtrack is everything as well. And the elements of Bespin and the taking of Han by Boba Fett, that whole sequence, I've probably watched, 200 times just for the music and 200 times just for what is going on at the same time. Absolutely love the entire thing, lock, stock and barrel. One of my favourite parts of the entire saga is Bespin, end of.
Mm-hmm. Can you point to any particular moment in that section of the film that stands out to you more than the rest?
Yeah, don't hate me for it, but it's simply Arto opening the door lifting up, then running through, the music all of a sudden hits crescendo.
Yeah.
And then they see Slave One taking off, and you're like, oh. But,
it does a lot for Arto, that moment as well, because it's not like he shoots through the door and runs off. He's sort of spins around and lays down a bit of cover with that smoke as well.
Even 3PO, look what happened to me, manages to throw a little teeny weeny bit of humour on top of the whole layer of
so much humour with the
you can hear, as the door goes up, I can hear the music in my ears now. It's just phenomenal. Love it.
Good.
And to be honest, the way this has been written is absolutely nail on head. All of those events are why I think at the end of the day everyone does go for Empire. To be honest, I think Bespin is such a key element to it, because this is where all the crap kicks off, and this is where everyone was like, yes.
Yeah, I totally agree. Steve, what's your take on this, Bespin?
Well, I think for me, Empire is the best of all the movies, because for me, when I think of a film and I think of even things like colour schemes, Empire's got not only all the different emotions and ups and downs with characters, it's also, you've got one movie, you've got white of Hoth, the green of Yoda's planet, which escapes me, the darkness of the space scene, the asteroid field, and then you've got the orange of Bespin.
It's almost like it's impermanent sunset.
Yeah, it's the film is so colourful.
It's almost stylized. There's a bit Michael Mann about it almost.
It is. It takes you all to the extremes in not only the characters but colours and themes and music and everything. So, but yeah, the importance of Bespin. I mean, for me, it's an integral part of that. Like it's almost like Empire is a quadrilogy of its own, with the 4 distinct pieces.
Yes. Yeah,
and I think it's incredibly important. It wouldn't be Empire without it, but then Empire wouldn't be Empire without any of the 4 main bits either.
No, that's true, and I have to agree. I think when I think of Empire, even though, like you pointed out, Steve, you got Hoth, which is the major set piece of that entire film, and then you've got Luke's training on that swampy Dagobah, and you've got the grey, the black and white of the Empire and all that stuff that takes place in space. But when I think about Empire, I think about Bespin.
Yeah, orange. Yeah, is the one that's most prominent.
It looks like, to me, it's always looked like an oil painting, and it's so idiosyncratic. There isn't another film. What's the gentleman's name who directed Oblivion for Tom Cruise? He come very, very close.
Oh, yes.
Is it Kaczynski? Is it Joe Kaczynski?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, very stylised.
Yeah, very, very stylised. He's come closest to sort of that key reference point to me. When I watched that film, I thought, this reminds me of Empire. And Empire, to me, is like looking at a series of paintings by Ralph McQuarrie at 24 of them every second, just seeing these beautiful, beautiful vistas. And I think what Matt says here about all the stories converging to that point, if you notice, everybody is on the defensive in Empire from right out of the gate. Everyone's at odds with their environment and with events. It's not until they get to Bespin that they actually stop and catch their breath. And that deliberately, I think, is to push us off guard, because Han is swaggering around those corridors chatting to his old friend as if he's finally gotten out in front of the situation, just to have the other shoe drop and that door opens and there's Darth Vader. It's very deliberate that this beautiful, crisp, white, heavenly oil painting of a location is the trap that they drop into. And it's got this devious beauty about it because of that.
None of that is accidental, mate.
No, it's all
beautifully
executed, and that has to be as much Kirshner as anybody else. You know, this whole Bespin is equal parts Lucas, Kirshner, and Ralph McQuarrie. And it is, like, to me, it's my favourite location in Star Wars. I've been very open that Empire and A New Hope interchange as my favourite Star Wars film frequently, depending on what mood I'm in. But thinking about this now, I could quite happily go and watch that film now. And I could skip forward to the Bespin parts and get just as much out of it, you know, without all the setup.
They won't ever make another Star Wars film like Empire. I know they just won't. It's just it is lost that je ne sais quoi. The thing.
Watch this space.
Yeah, but you can't. The thing that's missing is that the passion, and obviously there's passion in Star Wars. We're doing it now. You're doing it now, but it's driven by so many other factors now. We've been down this path before, but then it was pure art and nothing more.
It's true. I mean, there is also the fact that when Empire come out, there was no benchmark for within Star Wars. So there was only one thing Empire could do, which is foul when compared to Star Wars. That didn't happen. People were expecting that. That we're never going to be in that situation again. You know, the stars were aligned then, where people never thought the sequel to Star Wars could be as good as Star Wars. And when it was better, not immediately, because this is one of those films a bit like Shawshank Redemption, a bit like Fight Club. It wasn't appreciated when it was in theatres. It didn't find its audience until later, when people had got over the initial sort of gut punch in that movie. But that became the benchmark for everything that came after it. So you're never going to be able to, you can't create that situation again now.
No.
There was only Star Wars. Empire came out and succeeded it, whether that was instantly or within the 3 years until Jedi came out. Every movie that came after that was subject to that comparison. We're not going to, we don't have the luxury now of saying when Last Jedi comes out, will it be as good or better than, because we're always going to hold it up to Empire, and Empire didn't have that being held over it. Do you see what I mean? Now, everyone expected Empire to fail, and it didn't. And now when a movie fails, like The Phantom Menace, people say, well, you know, it's over. The game's over. And then when it succeeds, like The Force Awakens, it's still not as good as Empire. So we're never going to be in that situation again, Steve, where a film can come out and just wow us, because it's always going to be held up to an impossible standard of Empire.
I agree, but I'm waiting for that film, and I'm open to it. It's just that The Force Awakens was not even half as good as Empire, and if it had been, I'd have been like, I think even if Han had died in it and it was better than Empire, I would have said so. I'd have been more than happy.
That wasn't ever going to happen on a revisit many years later when they were getting the litmus paper tested again, was it? So
no,
no,
it
that's
can't
the thing. But I really think there's something special coming our way this year.
Yeah, I think so. And some of the stuff we've got to talk about in the news this evening will give you an idea, I think, of
there's more
of what we're looking forward to. Yeah. Okay, so let's. I just wanted to hit this one last piece of the breakdown from Matt's question. What's your favourite Star Wars location? I think I've made it perfectly clear that Bespin is mine. So, guys, what about you?
Mine's, well, my favourite location and scene and feeling, and the bit that makes me excited is the Emperor, the scene, the several scenes at the top of the tower, the Emperor.
Oh, okay.
Because
in Jedi.
Because trapped up there, and it's not like over quick, it's drawn out across a large portion of the film. Oh my, there you go, Rob. And I love the fact that it's not rushed, and every time you leave the scene you're like, I want to know what's going on, and then you forget about it and go to another scene, and then you come back and go, oh yeah, we were doing this. I just love the way it's drawn out up there, and it's a fantastic place because he's trapped at the top of that tower, and you know one way or another his fate is going to be found out.
Oh, I'll tell you, Steve, I can't wait for us to do the audio commentary for Jedi with you on board, because that is your insights there, I think, are going to be invaluable. Paul, your favourite location? Tatooine.
All of it, yep. Jawas, Mos Eisley, Sand People, Binary Suns, all of it. Tatooine.
That is where we got our start, right? That's where it all started for everybody.
One of my favorite things in the entire universe is simply the Jawas and the Sandcrawler and all that kind of thing.
Didn't it lent the film an identity all of its own? I know that it's before anyone says, "Oh, you're overlooking." There are these little creatures in THX 1138 that are very reminiscent of the Jawas. I think George sort of.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah,
the Jawas on those sort of underdwellers or whatever they were called. So, yeah, there have been things like them cinematically before, but they give Star Wars a very unique sort of feel.
Yeah, well, it's just the idea of this mobile droid market. It's more than that. I mean, don't forget you've got Jabba's palace. Everything going back there is great. It's even when I even went back there, all the stuff that happens there is pretty much kick ass. As simple as that. So yeah, Tatooine, end of.
Yeah, awesome.
And that's where Han shot first.
Yeah, well, and for us, old school. All right, Matt, thank you very much for that, sir. Very enjoyable conversation. Grew out of that question. Stephen, would you like to take Corey's question?
Yeah. Good day, fellas. Slow news week, so I had a question for you, gentlemen. If you are bombarded by questions, no worries. Bump it if you have to. No. Recently on the Tumbling Saber, I've been speculating that Snoke's endgame is that he's after the one who can wield the Skywalker blade, Rey, and that he is possibly using Kylo as a means to his own ends and would dump Kylo in a heartbeat once he has what he's been looking for. I'd love to hear you guys speculate and kick this one around for a bit. Have a great show as always. Long live the Commonwealth and cheers with a Z. Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the same as a Z?
It is.
It is the same as a Z.
Well, Corey's Canadian, so he should really be saying Z, but he's subject to his own rules.
What's he talking about?
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's chop rules with a Z.
Yeah, we've discussed this before a little bit. I think I've certainly said Kylo is absolutely 100%, marionette using, puppeteering Snoke is 100% marionette puppeteering Kylo.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Kylo's fate is going to be a result of him discovering this.
Yeah, we've said before many times, and it's replete across the whole of Star Wars, that masters, they train and they get them up, and then they use them for something better. I mean, it was Palpatine did it. Darth Vader's the Emperor did it with Darth Vader, didn't he?
Yeah.
And there's loads of other instances of it. And I what's that bloke who lost both his hands at the hands of Anakin?
Yeah,
Dooku. So it kind of that's the way it happens. It's almost expected, isn't it? That they use them, and I'm surprised they don't see it coming because it's kind of a Sith thing, isn't it?
It's definitely the Sith way. I've referred to it previously as being like a set of shark's teeth. There's always one ready to roll into place once one falls out. So yeah, with Palpatine he had Maul and he used him for a very specific reason, and then when Maul died he had Dooku to roll into place as his apprentice, and then he replaced him with Vader. So yeah, I think very much that's the case. With Snoke, I think there might be something more at play, and I put this out today as a podcast, the daily podcast I put out for our VIPs, called the Kessel Run. If you're not a VIP, then I put out a daily podcast, which is only short, about 10 or 15 minutes, called the Kessel Run. And in today's episode, I looked at what I thought Snoke might actually be up to, and in a nutshell, I think Snoke might actually be Plagueis, as Rob pointed out last week. If Plagueis stepped away from the Sith and the Sith dynamic, he may have jettisoned the name as well and gone back to being Snoke, or assumed a new identity as Snoke. Mm. And I think Plagueis is...
Snoke would be his original name, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
Anakin is to Darth Vader.
Exactly, yeah. And I wonder if Snoke's intention, and the reason why he became Darth Plagueis, was to restore balance to the Force. And the way he did that was to create Anakin so that he could fulfill the prophesized act of bringing about the restoration of balance by wiping out both the Sith and the Jedi. But that failed because, unbeknownst to anybody, Anakin had Luke and left a Jedi. So I think if that theory proves to be accurate, Snoke's intentions might be to use whoever he can to bring about that balance. And I think he may have created Rey by manipulating the midichlorians to create life the same way he did with Anakin. And then her function is to destroy all Force users so that there's complete balance in the Force. And then Snoke can then rule through political and military might and not through being proficient in the Force. That's my theory. It's a little bit out there and a little bit further on from what I've come up with previously, but it's still based on the same foundations. I think that might be what he's doing. So Kylo, sacrificial, because he's trying to get the strongest Force being into play to wipe everybody else out. Sacrificial lamb.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be interested to know what everyone else thinks about that. But yeah, I'm with you guys. Kylo, he's not Snoke's end game. He's just a tool he's using along the way.
Part of me wonders if he'll end up being a little bit like Dooku, though. Maybe not completely, switch over. I'm not saying he's going to become a Jedi and be completely redeemed, but he might become a bit more neutral and self-centered and just, I'm looking after me. I don't care. I'm not on anyone's side anymore.
We've also seen that Kylo he's strong with certain aspects of the Force, but discipline isn't one of them.
He's never learned it, though, has he?
He hasn't got it. And I don't think he's got it in him to get it. That's why I think Snoke's going to use him, because Snoke can see that actually he's quite weak. He's not... He can't attain...
Well, he's preying on his naivety, isn't he, and his anger.
I don't think he's attained like the light or the dark very well. And I don't think he's probably just extremely Force sensitive, I think, rather than...
Yeah, I think he's Force sensitive. I don't think he's like, if you look at Maul, he was the only Sith Lord we've seen so far with the yellow eyes, because he's all about rage, but he's very focused rage, which is the exact opposite of what Kylo is, because Kylo's just this petulant child that's willing to draw that lightsaber and smash everything up in his way because he has a meltdown. And we've even seen it in the Last Jedi trailer, the helmet, the Kylo Ren mask and helmet laying smashed on the floor. That's got to be him with one of his little petulant outbursts.
We don't know.
Also,
we don't know that yet.
To what, Paul?
We don't know that's him that's done it.
Well, we don't, but it makes sense that that's him.
All the evidence would point to it, right?
That's why when Darth Vader had no gate at the end of Episode 3, it didn't seem to fit, because Darth Vader's calculated and cold and disciplined. He's not like whip your pants off and run around doing the windmill. Yeah.
No, he's definitely more of a focused anger individual, isn't he? He's not, but he's not subject to the same type of anger that Maul was. And Dooku is a little bit calmer than Vader. So you've got all these people that they're fueled by the dark side, but that manifests in different ways. And with Kylo, he's just like a kid throwing his toys around. It doesn't seem to be focused. It just seems he's very, very sulky. But I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it. It's not a criticism of the character or the way it's written. I absolutely love that, because I think that plays into the sort of dark side user he is.
I can see Kylo being left out in the cold by both sides in the next film.
Well, I hope,
and
I hope not. I think it might be a redemption story for Kylo. I know that you don't like that. I know it's going to be difficult to do, and it's asking a lot of the audience. But I'm hoping it's a mission to save him.
Well, it depends whose life he saves.
Yeah, he would have to like redeem himself by saving life, like Paul said, because otherwise it wouldn't be enough.
I think he might make a sacrifice himself. Yeah,
it'd have to, wouldn't he? Because
that might be.
When we've seen it happen already in Star Wars, that's Anakin. And it wasn't like, all is forgiven, and then he goes skipping off into the sunset with Luke, hand in hand. He gave his life to save Luke. That's how he redeemed himself, right? So for Kylo, perhaps there is no way out of this series for him.
I wonder if it's going to be Luke again that gets saved, and that would be that rhyming thing that you're
the rhyming stanza. Yeah, that would be perfect if that's who he gave his life for, and maybe if he saved Luke from Rey.
Yeah, or that would be a twist I'd like to see.
Because it would be very interesting if the pieces move across the board in that dramatic a way, wouldn't it, in these films?
Definitely.
Very interesting. Okay, yeah. Corey, I think, yes, Snoke is using Kylo and no good can come of that at all. All right. We've got this question this week. We got this email from Nate Strong. He says, hello, gents. Let me start off by writing that I'm a huge fan of TSW. You all do a fantastic job breaking down the fan theories and the philosophical, mystic, and glorious wonders that come from our beloved galaxy far, far away. I have to endure a long commute to and from work, and TSW makes it not only bearable, but something I actually look forward to. That's high praise. Thank you, sir.
Really nice.
As an original 1977, I count myself as a lifelong junkie, although I admit to taking quite a hiatus after the prequels. I think a lot of us have done this. We define our fandom by the fact that we've returned, I think, after periods of time away. And I know I'm not the only one to declare that The Force Awakens did just...
did just that in bringing...
Sorry, yes, and I know I'm not the only one to declare that The Force Awakens did just that in bringing the passion back to the forefront. Since then, I've jumped back into the Star Wars universe with reckless abandon of a rogue smuggler, devouring canon novels, buying collectibles, watching and rewatching the films, The Clone Wars, Rebels, and of course enjoying the heck out of your witty and insightful banter. Again, look at where he's put us. In such good company, thank you. On May 25th, I'll not only be celebrating the 40th, but also my 48th birthday. I have a dorky mindset that Star Wars is so much more special to me because it came out the day I turned 8. That's brilliant. I've been contemplating how I'll personally be celebrating, but it will no doubt include playing Battlefront with my son, a chip off the old block, and watching A New Hope donned in appropriate Star Wars tee and, yes, underwear. They not only look cool, but they're actually the most comfortable pair I own. I know, TMI. It's the same one, Dirty Whities. Anyway, I feel the celebration has to go a little deeper than is expected, though. And I was wondering what you will all be doing. I know Marc had an awesome experience of going to Celebration, but my question is, how will each of you personally be celebrating and commemorating the momentous occasion of the 25th of May? Can't wait to hear your response. Keep up the stellar work. Long live the Commonwealth. And, of course, may the Force be with you always. Cheers. Nate Strong from Michigan. Nate,
lovely email.
Thank you. I got that email and it really brightened my day. Thank you so much for all the kind words. And the very happy birthday for Thursday also. So, guys, how will you be spending the 25th? Clue, you'll be recording a podcast with me.
We will indeed, but we'll be preparing for the 27th.
We will for the first TSW meetup.
So yeah, that's. I mean, to be honest, I'm already, quietly glowing. For a bit of words, yeah. My kyber crystal is already starting to throb. So yeah, obviously, yeah. I mean, we'll be casting with you guys. We'll be casting anyway. We should have a full squad in that night, which would be quite nice. And we'll be bubbling because a few days later, we'll be all gathering sticks with various other TSW nerds and having a nice tipple or so walking around the identities.
Star Wars identities at the O2.
That'll be good.
Hopefully, Steve, you'll be able to join us.
Please don't knock me down for saying so, but I'm more interested in meeting everybody than I am actually what the event is right now. I know that sounds a bit daft, but the idea is, this is a family thing, and we're all kind of getting a little closer by the day.
Yeah, no, I'm very much looking forward to that. It's going to be great to meet some of these people up there and take this thing in together, this identities presentation, and and then break a bit of bread afterwards. I think it's going to be a really good day. So I'll be looking forward to the 27th. But one of the things I am going to do, if I can slip into promo mode for a second, is the 25th we're going to be doing the prize draw for the Hasbro 40th anniversary Star Wars Celebration exclusive, which is Luke Skywalker as an X-Wing pilot on the vintage card, a 6-inch Black Series action figure.
Oh my!
How many entrants are we allowed? Is it like, I can buy 40 million entries?
Well, no, because it's going to all the VIPs. So it's anyone. If you are an existing VIP, you're already automatically entered into the draw. If you become a VIP before the draw on Thursday, you'll qualify. And once you are a VIP, you'll qualify for every draw. And we do one a month. This is going to be the big one, though, to mark the 40th. So this action figure is a thing of beauty. And
so is this what you got at Celebration, Mark?
Yes, yeah. I picked up one for myself while I was there because I wanted to keep one. And this one was lovingly donated by Rob Cast, host of the TSW Roundtable. So we're going to be giving that away to one lucky Veep. Ooh. So if you're not already a Veep, for as little as £1, or if you're feeling generous, £3 a month, just to keep us afloat.
Can we buy additional entries into the hat?
No, you're not going to bribe me, Paul. This has to go.
I'm not trying to bribe you at all.
We'll talk off air. Okay, Steve, how will you be apart from podcasting with us? How will you be marking the 25th? Will you be doing?
I will be completely naked, like I'm not already.
All chilly, man.
Wearing. I might don a pair of Star Wars pants. I do own them, and they are quite comfortable. I might actually put some clothes on. Shall I actually do a podcast clothes?
No, because it doesn't work. You've been clothed previously, and the chemistry's all off. None of us liked how that worked.
I don't think I'll be doing. I will be reminiscing privately because, it's very interesting actually that Nate was saying his age because he's bang slap in the middle. Oh no, actually, he's probably Paul. You 48?
Yes.
So I'm 46. Mark's 45.
I'll be 45 in July. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're 44, 46, and 48. So he's literally. We know, we feel your pain, and it is physical.
Yeah. This is our demo. Our demographic, purely, is people of our age, people who are clearly like-minded souls, all gathered together. There are a few. I mean, young
we
Katie
cater
joins
for
us.
Everyone. We do cater for everyone.
We try.
And it's lovely to have young people, but it's sometimes when there's a person of our vintage on, it's very, very few. I'm not the only one.
Well, we share a frame of reference, don't we? Yeah, it's not. Yeah, we're all up there. I don't like talking about numbers.
I probably have the record for seeing Return of the Jedi. Jeremy will contradict this, but I know we did an entire day. We watched it 4 or 5, 6 times in one day.
Wow.
We hid in the toilets between each one. Jeremy, and we did the same thing for Soul Man as well, which wasn't so good.
Well, he didn't mention Soul Man, but I did a podcast with Jeremy on Saturday. I did a little call-in show on Saturday, and Jeremy told that story. Not the Soul Man one, but the hiding in the toilets to see Return of the Jedi. Yeah.
Yes, we did. We literally did it for a whole day.
And hiding in quote. Yeah,
it was amazing. Yes, yeah, you couldn't do it now. You just get arrested now at our age, hiding in the toilet.
Yeah.
When you were 11 or when did it come out? Return of the Jedi.
83.
83.
I was 11.
Can I? Right. Okay. Don't forget, Nate's from Michigan. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
From a UK perspective, this isn't until December.
What? We saw it in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. See, I need to talk to my dad about this because I think I saw it in the summer. So my first experience of Star Wars
I've just sent a little something
I
on.
saw it in Leicester Square, and it was in the summer. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I think.
Are you sure you didn't see it sometime later?
Yeah, I think I did actually.
Ah, right. Yeah, but it was released in December '77 in UK.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, I just see. I saw the link you just put in there, Paul.
I don't remember it being cold. I had this.
That's because we all saw it the next summer.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think that's probably the case. I'm going to have to check with my dad.
Yeah.
I'll find out. He knows the story of how we saw it. So
it was a bit of a mystery when it first came out for us. It was like, oh, have you seen that? Oh, no. Oh, I'm going to have a look. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was it. Can you imagine what it would be like to
bears
experience anything that would change you so much as a person now?
Avatar 2.
No, moving on.
Listen, I just say, because I've got a bit of redemption to come after that to read that horrific statement you gave me, the review. Terminator 2, Aliens. His best work is always his sequels. Done. Enough said.
I'll give you that.
Yes.
I'll give you that. I can't wait for True Lies 2. Okay. Nate, thank you so much for that. Wonderful email.
Yeah.
You really lifted my spirits. It's so nice to have somebody...
an elderly person.
so nice to have an elderly person on board.
Yeah, I will fit, a knight of the realm.
I will fit some ramps over the stairs of this podcast. No, it's good to have you on board, sir, and thank you very much for such a thoughtful email, such kind comments. Right, to the other end of the spectrum now, one of our youngest listeners, Katie, the wonderful Katie. Paul, would you like to read this question she sent us via Twitter?
Hi, Katie. How you doing? Right. If you could pick any two characters to have a lightsaber duel, who would it be? You can pick any characters, films, books, TVs, and games. For example, I would like to see Obi-Wan versus, is that Revan?
Revan,
or Ahsoka versus Grievous. So, quite simply, two characters for a lightsaber duel. Go. Stephen.
Man, I wasn't ready. Marc.
Well, I think mine might trump everything, and I don't think this has happened in canon. I could really use Rob's massive brain right now because I want to see Vader versus Maul. And I know that
that'd be cool.
Someone wanted to pit those two against each other somewhere along the line, and I think that would be a pretty cool fight.
I want to see Obi-Wan and Luke, only because neither of them really, Obi-Wan did in the prequels, but they fought like Knights of the Round Table, which was a shame. I don't like so much the stylized, hyper ninja stylized stuff where they're flipping about, and Yoda is the least one I'd want to see. But somewhere in the middle would be good, where there's a little bit of very strange, enigmatic skill involved that obviously you've been taught, rather than just standing there holding a weapon like they did in the kind of the original trilogy. So somewhere in the middle would be good. Yeah, Obi-Wan and Luke.
Wow. Paul?
Well, we seem to be sticking with Jedis and Sith mostly, but it could be anybody. But I'm going to stick with the same kind of theme. I'm going to say Qui-Gon and Mace Windu.
Oh yeah, that'd be good too.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
I think they'd probably be quite evenly matched, wouldn't they?
It'd last forever, wouldn't it?
Mace Windu's only got one arm.
Well, it has now. I watched Phantom Menace over the weekend, and
oh, sorry, mate.
Without a doubt, the high point was Ewan McGregor and what's the guy's name who played Maul? Ray Park.
Ray Park.
The choreography in their
it's pretty good, isn't it?
Oh, it's over too quick.
Fantastic. Except for the fact when he jumps back out of the hole, manages to about 2 seconds pass. He then force grabs his saber, which is another 2 seconds, and he flips over the top of what's his name, Ray Park's character, and then he just looks at him like he's been raising his weapon in less than a nanosecond for the last 15 minutes, and then he just waits there and lets himself get chopped in half.
You are so critical
of those three.
Why do you hate Joy? You just hate Joy. I'm going to tell Joy.
She's one of the best ones in Inside Out.
Tell her. You tell her to stop nicking my bin outside as well.
Right, okay. Katie.
KTSO.
I like the way
let's go a bit. Wait, let's not stop here. There's only three of us. We go a little bit left field here, I think. Wouldn't it be cool to see... let's go... I'm going to go with Chewbacca. What? And Poe Dameron.
Well, Chewie using the lightsaber.
Chewbacca and Lando would have been great on Bespin.
There's going to be there's going to be burnt hair everywhere.
Yeah, but Lando hasn't got that much hair. He'd be fine.
Burnt with cold heat.
Yeah, but think of how angry Chewie was with Lando. So Chewie and Lando, I'm going with. Imagine there was two sabers on a duel. They're back to back.
People who've never used lightsabers before. They can just damage themselves.
C-3PO versus Gonk. That one's for Matt Keegan. 3PO v Gonk.
Neither of them have... Well, Gonk versus another droid without arms.
Oh, no. I've got the winner. A Tauntaun versus the Dianoga. That doesn't get any better than that, right?
The Sarlacc.
The Sarlacc pit versus the barge.
No, the Sarlacc versus the thing that Luke has to fight underneath.
All right, I'm going to go with the Falcon versus the Sandcrawler.
I'm going to go with
the first Death Star versus the second Death Star.
I'm really sorry, Katie. I tried to take it across another route and they decided to ruin it.
George Lucas versus any of the other directors. I'm not going to single anybody out.
No,
George is God. He can't lose, mate.
No, that is true. Katie, I love your question.
That's a great question.
That's a great question. It can open up a lot of fun bits and pieces. And singed.
Please get another surname hyphened onto the back of Stubbs, and then you'll be KTSO.
Well, that's her Twitter handle.
Oh, okay.
Her, the Twitter name, not the actual address, but the Twitter name is KTSO.
When are we going to get names, Mark?
You've got a name. It's Paul. Okay, before he starts whinging about not being a knight.
Darth Paul.
Darth Paul. Oh, there you go. Get your face tattooed. Let's go to our break very, very quickly, and then when we come back, someone's got to read Connor's Corner. This doesn't work without Rob. Does it?
I can say thusly.
Wow.
All right, you can say thusly. Okay, we're going to go to our break, and we'll be back presently. If you'd like to support what we do here at Talk Star Wars, you can do so by becoming a TSW sponsor. For as little as £1 per month, given securely via PayPal, you'll help us keep the lights on here at Talk Star Wars. When you become a TSW sponsor, we will automatically make you a TSW VIP. As a VIP, you'll get access to an exclusive stream of content that provides you with a daily podcast called the TSW Kessel Run, membership to the TSW VIP Facebook group, priority releases of shows such as the TSW Toy Box and TSW Comics. You'll also get priority access to the TSW Feature Com series and weekly Facebook Live and AMA sessions. There are also newsletters and a monthly prize draw. Head to talkstarwars.co.uk/support and become a TSW sponsor today, and the Force will be with you always.
And we're back. You've just listened to the VIP program, and now it's time for Connor's Corner, and Connor says thusly, greetings, Jay, shut up. Oh my.
Oh my. Wow. We're trying to make up for the very huge absence, the void that is Rob. Sorry.
Thanks for bigging me up.
Sorry, Rob, you were saying Connor writes thusly.
Connor writes thusly. Greetings, gents. I hope this week you are all well and in good spirits. Last week's show was an absolute blinder. Dan Solo's question was up there with one of the best to date, and on the show, kudos to him. Best to date on the show, and kudos to him. It left us all with a lot to think about. Then Mr. Stephen Ware, or as we call him here, TSW, the Stephen Ware. Thank you very much. I hope you've got the shirt.
That's definitely going in the store, mate.
Yes.
You've got a name. I haven't got one.
You'll have one soon, don't you worry. The Stephen Ware blows our minds with his Stardust explanation. Brilliant. Anyway, guys, enough of this praise. Yeah, our heads are inflating as we speak. Just recently, I was listening to the I Was There Too podcast, Star Wars prequel episode with special guest Ahmed Best. You have to hear it to believe it. Some of the things he says are truly unbelievable. The Yoda Dooku scene particularly, I'm calling Pluto on it. Seriously have to hear it. I'd love your slant on it. This got me thinking about some things in Star Wars, some choices that were made that I don't like. I'm not talking about addition extras here. Greedo shooting first and blinking Ewoks. I mean scenes, characters or story elements that made you roll your eyes and know you can't say Jar Jar, that's an easy target. Or equally, some things you wish there had been more of. Anyway, I'm trying to keep these emails shorter these days as there are more listener comms each week, which is testimony to you guys. We love it. We love it. Keep it up. Thanks, Connor and Leo. May the Force be with you always. Thank you very much, Connor. That was remarkably good, and I shall forever be known as TSW now. I am even more TSW than TSW. Obviously, the listeners have spoken.
They have, and the number one listener as well.
Yeah, exactly. Breakdown. So, what if anything you hate enough about... Well, I think I've read that wrong. If anything, so you hate enough about... Well, did you write this breakdown, Mark?
That might have been me a little bit.
Written in Swahili?
A little bit, yeah. I did.
Google Translate.
I had literally just woken up when I was like this. So what if anything,
about
do
Star Wars would you
you?
erase
That should have been do.
The S is next to the D.
Do you hate enough about Star Wars to... enough tea? I can't read this drivel. What, if anything, do you hate enough about Star Wars to erase forever? And equally, what would you like more of? Thank you. Okay, I've
that went well, didn't it?
Yeah, that was so seamless and clean.
Seamless. So, Paul, you can go first. You were insolent.
Ewoks.
You hate
less or more?
You
Ewoks.
hate Ewoks.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I want Ewok more of.
Jedi was going on a really good path. I mean, he had the whole Jabba's Palace thing was going in the right direction. It was all deep and dark and slimy and gangsters and stuff. And then we go down to the Sarlacc pit and it's awesome. And then we get some yeah, that kind of thing. And then basically people, we go back, we learn a little bit more and so on and so. And then these teddy bears appear. I know it was a whole Stone Age versus modern technology thing, but I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you know the story behind that? There was there's a reason behind it, because it was intended initially that they would be Wookiees, and the whole Endor thing was going to be the Wookiee planet was going to be Kashyyyk, and then they would have been Wookiee insurgents rather than Ewoks. But
that would have been far cooler.
It would have been, and George felt that he'd made Chewbacca too sophisticated because he was a co-pilot of the ship and he was a mechanic and everything, keeping that ship running. So you wouldn't really buy into the fact that they were a primitive race, and he wanted the insurgents to be a primitive race that rise up against the overconfidence of the technological army, a bit like the Viet Cong rising up against the Americans in Vietnam. That was his template. So it's kind of unfortunate that it went the way it did, because all he did was literally took Wookiees, broke them in half, and even broke the name in half and anagrammed it. That's his solution.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
and then to come back to it in Sith and put the Wookiees in Sith anyway, he's already.
I know the 92 seconds we got, I really liked.
Yeah, so. I would have bought into
in Sith. Oh yes, what the Wookiee was in
Sith.
You got a Kashyyyk very briefly, and you got Chewie hanging off the side.
I was thinking Ewok then. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I would have bought into Wookiees being primitive on Kashyyyk and living simple lives, and Chewbacca just being an outstanding one. That went. Well,
there you go. That answers my question. Then, what would I like least of? Ewoks, more of Wookiee.
Yeah, good one. I think that's a sterling choice. Personally, I'm gonna give you a bit more time to think, Steve. So I'll do mine because I actually thought about this earlier and put it in the notes. I would like less of Chewie in Revenge of the Sith, because I think it's all a little bit too convenient that we saw a legacy character in one of the prequel films. I think it was a bit of fan service. I didn't want to think of Chewie as being some sort of leader from Kashyyyk that spends the rest of his life as a smuggler with Han, that was all a little bit too neat and tidy. And I also couldn't stand Anakin and Padme's scenes in Revenge of the Sith. Some of that, I've put a line in here. No, it's because I'm so in love with you. That stuff that they do and I've referred to it as balls in the show notes as well. All that stuff they do on the balcony on Coruscant where she's brushing her hair. It's just such a terrible piece of writing. There's no chemistry between those two actors in that scene, and it just does that movie a disservice, because it literally has my eyes rolling in my head whenever I see it. I can't wait to get past that scene. And what I would like more of, I would like more Darth Maul. Now, I heard this somewhere this week, and I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been one of our shows on the network, but I can't pin it down because I've been doing so much to try and catch up with everyone's shows. Someone mentioned that General Grievous should have been Darth Maul in a mechanical suit. Not that was ever planned, but that's the way it should have played out. And
was Grievous a substitute for that kind of ideal then?
Well, Grievous, there was a whole like a comic book. I don't know if it's canon anymore, but there was a comic book about this character that was almost like a test subject for Sidious in destroying an organic entity and bringing it back in a cybernetic form. And that's what his function was. Dooku had him, I think it was a crash. They forced this crash of a spacecraft where this guy was practically killed, and then they rebuilt him. He's like the $6 million man, but in a Star Wars version. And I just can't help but think that would have been better in the story if that had been Maul that had turned out. It would have been a nice reveal as well if, when he starts fighting with the lightsabers, that it's revealed that it was Darth Maul inside this mechanized body. That's what I would love, because I would love to see more Darth Maul. What a cool character he was. Stephen, definitely. What about you? What would you like less of, and what would you like more of?
I've gone to and fro while you've been talking and thinking of individual things, and then really, if it's my choice, I would get rid of the prequels completely, but not get rid of them in the sense that they never existed. I would move them so they will be making them now, knowing what people really want out of Star Wars films. They want the authenticity. They want the feeling that it latches on to the original trilogy, and not necessarily ultra amounts of CGI. You need CGI, but you need real puppets. You need to make it feel authentic. You need to make it feel like Star Wars. And I think the prequels would have done a lot better now rather than then, because they were a bit dire. I would have loved to have seen more of Luke in The Force Awakens. It would have made the film feel all those things.
That's a fair point, mate. Actually.
Yeah, I like both those points.
I didn't think about that call, to be honest. I think Mark Hamill wanted to see more of Luke in The Force Awakens as well.
Have you seen Mark talking about when he was reading the script?
Yeah, he's like, I'm waiting.
He's like licking his fingers and turning the pages. And do you remember when we were doing the trailer breakdowns back in the day for The Force Awakens, and we were looking at that scene where the light comes through the trees and Rey is leaning over Finn's body. Obviously, we know now that it's Finn, but we were getting very confused over who that might be at the time. And we said, that bright light, I think that's Luke making a Gandalf the White kind of return. Mark said exactly the same thing when he's flicking through the script, and he said, oh, this is the bit, this is where I show up, and then it's not. The lightsaber goes to Daisy Ridley, and he doesn't get another look in. It's kind of, that makes me smile inside that guy was so frantically looking for his return. And
did they not think that
60
it would
seconds
be
at the end.
Like, did they not think, no, you can't ask Mark Hamill to come here all the way from where he lives in the States for this. We need to, he's not honouring him. I think it was a bit insulting, I have to say.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, I think we can say now that was all misdirection for us, so that we know Mark's on location, we expect more. And then the trick is they've made it look like he's in it more. And that's like the rope-a-dope, really. But I do wonder whether or not some of that stuff was changed. Whether they just kept whittling away at Luke's story responsibilities and perhaps moving some of those elements to another character, and maybe he was intended to be used more early on, and over time it got whittled away until he makes that minuscule appearance right at the end.
Do you want me to say something contentious now?
Do it, Steve. Why not?
I watched Sith the other day.
Did you?
And I know I've just been slating the prequels, but it is my favourite of the prequels, and it's still by no means a good film, but it's okay. And I actually thought, I like this better than The Force Awakens. Awkward.
He just doesn't learn, does he? Right. Open season on Steve, everybody. Send him abusive comments and things, because he will not learn. Please don't do that.
What do you like that? Where does it sit in relation to the prequels, not the original trilogy for you?
Say that again.
Where does The Force Awakens sit in relation to the prequels and not the original trilogy?
Oh, it's far better than any of them.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a lot more fun. I mean, I took the I took TFA religiously seriously when I went to cinema to see it, and that's why I came out a little disappointed. No, rather disappointed. That's why. And then I watched it again, and I still haven't turned off that trigger of want and need from the old school, 55-year-old point of view and so on. And then I think it was talking to Marc and Rob, and they said, just go and watch it without any preconceptions, just enjoy the damn. And miraculously, it's like hypnosis, I did. I really did. I just enjoyed Finn, and I enjoyed Rey. But I'll tell you what, more than anything, I completely fell in love with Kylo Ren. And I really enjoyed it. I mean, I really enjoyed it. And I've watched it several times since.
Maybe
I can't do that with the prequels still. If they're on, it's weird. If they're on, I leave them on. If I'm flicking,
until you feel sick,
sort of thing. But seriously, if Marc said, "Oh, Saturday night we're going to watch a film," and we went to Marc's house, and 10:30, he said, "Should we put on, Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Clones or Sith or whatever?" Yeah, put it on.
For 5 minutes.
Amongst the clan, I kind of enjoy them because it's what it's all about. It's still the universe as such, but I wouldn't seek them out.
No.
But the other night I saw TFA had been put onto like Now TV or whatever, and it's just sitting in the regular section. So what do? I press play.
I think I can watch The Force Awakens, and even though I'm cognizant of its failures, of lacking some more original elements and sort of underserving the legacy characters, apart from Harrison Ford, who was given plenty of screen time. Even though I acknowledge those things as being present, they don't worry me. And the similarities, the closeness to the story beats of A New Hope doesn't worry me. I do watch, I watched Phantom Menace at the weekend, and even though that's my favourite prequel movie, and I still enjoyed it, there were moments in it where I just thought, oh, that's just so disappointing. Boss Nass, for example, such a gigantic cartoonish character on screen, and there's some CG work that, there was a Dewback walking along behind Liam Neeson in Tatooine, and the feet were barely touching the floor. There was no weight to anything. And I looked at these things and I thought, that's just disappointing. And in The Force Awakens, there's a mechanical or practical puppet at the start. It's like a bird that's sort of smashing its beak on a piece of scrap metal. And even though it looks like a mechanical armature, it's still, because it has weight, and it has a weight to it. It's lit and it looks practical. It looks physical, and I don't worry. And there's that thing that pops up out of the sand and looks at BB-8 as he goes past, and it says like a strange little line of dialogue. It doesn't look like anything more than a puppet with red eyes, but because it's got weight to it, it looks practical. I just accept it. I don't feel disappointment with The Force Awakens ever. But even though some of the elements are very close to the other films, and it's a missed opportunity to sort of tell a more original story, and I understand why they did it and they needed to do it and all the stuff that we said 1,000 times. But I don't feel the disappointment I feel when I go back to the prequels. I feel disappointment with them from time to time. Like the things I pointed out earlier with Padme and Anakin and the lack of some chemistry. I feel disappointment with those elements. I don't feel disappointment from the new films.
Well, with that in mind, I'm going to change my dislike and change it to Starkiller Base. I hate that thing.
Yes. I see, there's been a few...
does not work.
There's been a lot of comments... A lot of comments rolling in today, Steve. In fact, Dan Solo said he'd love to have lunch with you and discuss Starkiller at some point. So there's a lot of you get a lot of support on those items. Even though I understand, I don't mind Starkiller. I know it's as implausible as anything else that takes place in a Star Wars movie, and I'm willing to suspend my disbelief because it doesn't break the rules that Star Wars has set for itself.
No.
But I understand.
Well, I'm not anyone staring in disbelief at my release suspension, so...
Always. I set you up for those things, don't I?
Starkiller Base on its own, as the first time you'd ever seen a thing like that, great. You would suspend your disbelief and go, you know what? It's cool. But to have a third, sphere of destruction, it's like, come on, really? Sucking up a sun? You're just doing that to make it seem different. I'd rather have kyber crystals in.
As forgiving as I can be, Steve, I think I'm with you. If they try to pull that one again, I think they would they would have cashed in a couple of credits from me, because that's I think it would be unforgivable if they go back to that well again. The circular space station thing.
The next film's going to be a chase movie.
Yeah, the next one has to be, yeah. And the last one needs to be personal. Whatever they need to work out an original set piece for the last film, but the story they're telling needs to be a personal one. The way that Luke and Vader's story was at the center of Return of the Jedi, that's what needs to be at the center of Episode 9. And whatever they do around it, whatever the set pieces they build around it, needs to be something different. As different as Hoth was to the Death Star at the end of A New Hope. That's what we need from Episode 9, because by the time we get there, we're going to be ready. Everyone's going to be, the pump is prime now, everyone's going to be ready for original stuff. So the way that George and Kirsch took the third act set piece and pushed it up the front of the film, and instead of it being in space, in the dark, cold void of space, they put it in a brightly lit daytime snow environment. It needs to be that alien. What they do in Episode 9 needs to be that different from anything that's come before it. Because we have earned it by then.
Definitely. I mean, even with 8, though, that's the difficulty with 8, because you can't have that that shock and awe thing at the start of this movie, because it's going to be as the other one ended off, which is the first time they've done that. You do end up with that palette and a feeling like
there's been so-called leaks of the opening scene, hasn't there?
Has there?
Yeah, I'm not gonna. If you don't know, I'm not gonna say.
No,
I've read stuff.
I'm not reading any spoilers. So.
No, we need to jump into at least the Last Jedi section, so that we can table a few spoiler bits for discussion.
Okay.
All right, let's wrap up on Connor's Corner by saying thank you, Connor and Leo, for another quality email and another great conversation that jumped off the back of that.
Tiny conversation as usual.
As usual, yeah. So thank you for that, chaps. All right, let's move into some movie news then, some Star Wars news. We're going to start with Star Wars Rebels rumours. Again, this is just rumours, nothing spoilery. But talk is that Ian McDiarmid may be returning to the role of Palpatine for Star Wars Rebels Season 4.
I've seen it before. You say returning, so...
No, return to the role of Palpatine, but in Star Wars Rebels. Previously, some other performers, Ian Abercrombie, the late Ian Abercrombie, a gentleman passed away during the Clone Wars. He played Palpatine in the first animated series, and then he was followed up by Tim Curry, the legendary Tim Curry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was Palpatine for a while. And then Sam Witwer, who is one of my favourite Star Wars personalities. Sam played Starkiller in the Force Unleashed games, and he was also Darth Maul on Rebels and Clone Wars, and he did some voices in The Force Awakens also. Sam's amazing, and he's such a great Star Wars commentator. He knows so much about it. The guy's just still trapped when it comes to Star Wars lore. So he played Palpatine for a while. So the question a lot of people are asking is, why would Ian McDiarmid return to this role on a TV show? And more importantly, why would the producers remove Sam Witwer in, as he's done such a great job up to now? This rumour grew out of the fact that Ian McDiarmid was in a recording studio just a couple of days after Warwick Davis recorded his role of Rook for Series 4 of Star Wars Rebels, and that he was recording dialogue for an American director, apparently. So a lot of people are adding those things up and assuming that means that he's providing the voice for Palpatine in Rebels, but he could be providing audio for Last Jedi, which was another option that was thrown out there.
Cool.
So what do you think's more likely? Do you think Ian McDiarmid would come back to Star Wars on TV?
Definitely.
Yeah, why not?
It's been his main staple, isn't it?
I think that's pretty much what he's known for, right?
Yeah, he would definitely do it. I'm just not being a non-rebel person. Obviously, the timeline worked, right?
Yes, yeah. This is when he's Emperor, yeah, and Vader's still his number one guy. Yeah.
Yeah, of course he would. And also, he's doing it probably out of respect for the other guy a bit as well.
Possibly.
You know, I don't think he'd ever consider it as supplanting him, like if he was alive. But if he's not there, it might be a kind of nod to him, you know?
Well, Ian Abercrombie was the first Palpatine on TV, and that was a number of years ago now. So I don't imagine that would play.
But he did impress Ian McDiarmid, yeah.
Well, he made the voice was very similar. I think he pretty much made the role his own on TV, and then Tim Curry did it for a little while as well. But it wasn't really until Sam Witwer that we got a Palpatine that sounded exactly like Ian McDiarmid's Palpatine.
Okay.
Even though they used the character very sparingly.
It makes sense. How old's Ian McDiarmid now? Is he like 66 or something?
Yeah, because he's more the age of the Emperor now than he was when he played the Emperor. He's only in his 30s. It's the
best bit of forward thinking ever made, wasn't it?
It's genius, isn't it? It's absolutely genius.
Always play your older part when you're young. Yeah. Then you can carry on.
I would love to see him. I would love for this to be lines recorded for The Last Jedi. In whatever capacity, if it's in a Force vision or a Force back or something, I think that. So
they could appear in The Last Jedi, under a kind of an ulterior motive originally.
Yeah, it would be nice even if we got if I'm right and Snoke does turn out to be Plagueis, which is an age-old theory now, but if we got some flashbacks to a period where a de-aged Ian McDiarmid's playing Palpatine alongside his old master, that would be astonishing.
But we've never done flashbacks in Star Wars, have we?
No, but we've done Force visions and they can perform the same function.
Yeah, and as a Force vision, it's amazing. As a flashback, it would seem out of...
Yeah, it would be out of the storytelling structure of Star Wars.
Yeah. I know, well, and then you say that, but then Force Awakens didn't have any of the edits. What are they called? The swoosh edits, I'm going to call them.
The swipes.
The swipes.
The wipes on and off, yeah?
Yeah, they had none of that, did it?
No.
And that was kind of one of the main things Rogue the prequels I did like.
Rogue One didn't have that, but Force Awakens did.
Oh, did Force Awakens have it?
Yeah, the Force Awakens.
It was Rogue One. Yeah, sorry. It was
Rogue One didn't. Force Awakens had some quite inventive ones.
Sorry, I'm talking balderdash.
All right, let's move on to the second Rebel story, because I think this is probably going to be central to my Kessel run that I record on Friday. Could Star Wars Rebels characters appear in The Last Jedi and make the move from animated to live action representation? This started as a rumor on on Reddit. Can't even read my writing. So take it with a pinch of salt. But what if Ezra, Kanan, and Ahsoka were to appear in flashbacks or Force visions in live action form in The Last Jedi?
Well, one whisper is that Ahsoka is. What's her name? She's been campaigning for the role.
Oh, Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, and there's whispers that that's happening.
Well, I would be all on that. That's brilliant.
I bet you would.
Like, it's my vote.
But she does A to M.
Yes. Not on this. No, that's after Dark Side material right there. Be careful how close you wander to that. With regard to these characters appearing in live action, would it be a genius move and would not doing it represent a missed opportunity here? Because we still need to know what happens to Ezra and Kanan, and Ahsoka's storyline is still kind of up in the air. Wouldn't a flashback or a Force vision...
Why can't their stories be finished in the real world?
You got the wrong people here to answer this, but I would say it depends on how they want to use them post Episode 8 or in the next trilogy, because they're going to have to introduce a whole new plethora of characters. So it depends on the future of Star Wars. I would say, why not? Even if I don't know who they are, I know who Ahsoka is and that, but it's kind of, I'd be interested in seeing any new characters that don't fall into the same recipe that they're kind of doing at the moment. So yes, I would be up for it.
Just to give you a little bit of context, Steve and Paul, because I know neither of you have really seen the show yet, but Ezra, Kanan, and Ahsoka are Jedi. Well, Ahsoka kind of moves away from the Jedi, but they are Force users with lightsabers who, at the moment, because the show's not wrapped yet, are still kind of active, and we presume aren't active during the events of the original trilogy. So the question has always been, where are they during the events of the original trilogy, and why were they not involved? Rogue One gave us the ship that they all live on, and one of the characters and the little droid. That was all referenced on screen in Rogue One. So we still need to know what happens to the two Jedi and Ahsoka. And they might kill them off in the animated TV series, and then this all becomes a moot point.
Okay, if they bring them into Last Jedi, what would their ages be? How would that equate?
Well, it depends what species they are.
Ezra, well, they're human. Two of them are human, and Ahsoka is I can't think what they're called, a Togruta. I think they've got the things that hang down, the blue and white stripy things that hang down.
Like the dancer in Jabba's palace, yeah?
No, that's a Twi'lek.
Was it the one who got shot when they did Order 666?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. That's a Twi'lek as well. The one Shakti, her name is. She is in some of the deleted scenes, but I still don't think they've killed that character off in canon yet. She's in the deleted scenes in Revenge of the Sith, and she gets killed by General Grievous, with a lightsaber through her back. But I think they're called Togrutas, the characters. In fact, I could look this up because I've got the internet at my fingertips.
Has he got the ghost shit? Is it the ghost?
The ghost is the ship, yeah.
The ghost, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm up for anything that makes it feel a bit different and like they're taking some risks. So, they got my vote.
Yeah, I think that at this point, Ezra's about the same age, a little bit older than Luke and Leia. So he would be an old man as well. Kanan would be considerably older because he's got about 10 years on Luke and Ezra. And Ahsoka's, again, probably another 5 years older than Kanan, maybe. So they would all, but she's not human, so that you could explain some of that away. But I'm thinking more tell their story in flashback or in Force Vision or in the recounting of the story of the fall of the school, because Luke presumably would have needed allies to bring up the next generation of Jedi. Why couldn't Ezra, Kanan, and Ahsoka's story all have led to Luke's school? And perhaps they were dispatched at the school. It would seem a shame to me to write those characters off in that way, because you're going to reveal how those characters were dispatched. So any stories you tell will always lead to that moment, and that takes some of the drama out of it. But there is a way that those characters could have figured into Luke's establishing the school or teaching at the school, and they could have all fallen at the school. Potentially.
All sounds feasible to me.
Does it work dramatically?
Yeah, and the only problem I have with it is a flashback is going to be very short, and a short edited piece to make it very succinct and informative, but not lengthy. So to give them the right amount of sort of credibility and everything, I think they wouldn't need to be done in flashback. Otherwise, you'd end up being annoyed that they didn't get enough screen time.
Yeah, there is that, but they could tell a lot of story in a short space of time. The way they
you read into it like we do, definitely.
Yeah.
Geeks, definitely. Interesting.
Yeah, it could be interesting. I'm going to do this on a Kessel Run and see what people think. And she is a Togruta. That's the species name.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so let's move on to Force Awakens bits. There's still some stuff coming out about the Force Awakens. So Jakku was almost a junk planet and not a desert planet, and Rey was almost named Kira. Now, I've put the source link in the show notes as well, so you can head over to read this article in full. But I knew about the name Kira. That was always Rey's working name on set. That's how she was referenced in some of the scripts and things like that. And I also thought it was a pretty cool name for a character anyway. But what about this junk planet instead of like the desert wastelands?
So do they mean junk planet? Sorry, Paul, to leap in here. Do they mean junk planet as this is how the planet evolved, or a junk planet because of all the crashed starships? Because it kind of is a junk planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look at that. There's an image next on the show notes. There's an image I've embedded next to this section, the little tweet that shows some blue concept art, which also happens to show twin suns, interestingly. It is very much like if you think of Jakku as we know it now, being like a starship graveyard, so there's the odd bits and pieces sort of scattered around everywhere, isn't there? But imagine that like to the power of 10, so that much like Coruscant is like a city planet. Imagine Jakku literally being a junk planet.
Yes, to keep things from flying into stuff in space. They just dump it. In fact, what would have been cool would have been to have a planet.
Croydon.
Yeah. What would have been cool was to have a planet that was never a planet, and all it was the junk that was attracted to bits via gravity, and then the bigger chunk had more gravity, and eventually it made a sphere.
Right.
How cool would that have been?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. I don't think this design went that far.
Is there anything we need to read into Kyra?
I don't know. It depends where they were going to go with that. I don't know.
It's an anagram of Leia.
Well,
it's not really not.
No.
It's like, yeah. You got me thinking. Then I'm like, I had to look at
it. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there could be. I don't know much about anime, but I'm thinking Akira, the character in the animated movie. Maybe there's some story similarities there. Maybe there's
Battle Angel. Oh, that's Akita, isn't it? I'm thinking of Battle Angel Akita.
I don't know. Maybe it was literally just a name, and they changed it just on a whim. It could be as simple as that, really, couldn't it? Well, they're just hiding. Like, there's a lot of names floating around. Well, I think Chewie's working name is Butch on the Han Solo.
Don't forget, Ray is an androgynous name that would have been great when the film hadn't come out yet, because it gives, misdirection.
Yeah, it's also light as well, isn't it? So there's
yes, that's a very good point.
Yeah, and Kylo someone pointed out that Kylo is kind of a hybrid of the Sky from Skywalker and Lo from Solo. So there's, you can take these things apart and put them back together like Lego sets, can't you? But I don't know. I love that design of Jakku, and those twin suns says to me that at some point this was going to be Tatooine, that the battle was over and that's where the graveyard was, and for some reason they've decided not to use Tatooine, which might suggest that they were afraid of returning to a legacy planet, or they've got plans for Tatooine in the future.
But they kind of did anyway.
Yeah, they kind of did, didn't they? Okay, moving on, subject to Force Awakens names. Kylo has become one of the most popular names for baby boys in the USA, jumping up 2,368 spots to number 901 in the charts. Are these mums hoping the kid will follow in Kylo Ren's footsteps, and should dads be washing their backs?
It's not the worst name in the world, though, is it?
It's not. I mean, it's only a vowel away from Kylo.
To be honest, Ray, Finn, Kylo, they all work. I mean, you wouldn't call your son Han. You could call him Luke or Leia.
I was hoping we would sort of talk about this, but that's exactly true, isn't it? I know people that have, I think Jackie, Jonas's mum, put in the group the other day, in the Facebook group, the VIP Facebook group, what was your Star Wars pet's name? Have you ever named a pet after a Star Wars character? I had a dog named Ben. He didn't wear rags and he didn't scare off sand people, but he was still named Ben.
I had a snake called Rambo. That's why my porn name would be Rambo.
Our cat's named after a previous cat who was actually named after Nala in The Lion King. So she's got a movie name.
Yeah, I think you can take some of these names and they work. I know that one of the hosts of the /Filmcast.
My middle name is Greedo.
Oh, our cat's called Obi. Sorry, our cat called Obi-Wan that we rehomed. There's one. Sorry, that was right.
Superb. Some of these names work better than others.
An Obi 3?
No, it was Obi, but
that was a theory once, that Obi-Wan might have been clones, and that was exactly the thought process, that he was Obi-Wan and there was an Obi 2.
Watch this space.
Clone designations.
Alec Guinness is in it.
I pity the dad that gets saddled with a child named Kylo, because you are going to be watching your back forever.
Hell of a temper.
Yeah. Dad, give us a cuddle. No.
Yeah,
Dad,
put the sword
come and
down.
stand on the
Show
bridge.
me your hand.
Come and stand on the bridge, Dad.
Yeah,
Right.
without any railing.
We're going to move into because no railings. We're going to move into Last Jedi and Han Solo bits now. So there are potential spoilers ahead. So if you're averse to spoilers in any way, even if we accidentally back into some of this stuff, you might want to jump out now.
Can I go and walk the dog then?
You don't have a dog.
You don't have a dog.
I'm looking after Mum and Dad.
Oh.
But I've got to walk her before I go to bed, and I'm lying here naked, skiing down with rain.
Jump off if you want to avoid these bits, mate. That's fine.
They don't like you anyway.
Give everyone your love.
Yeah, I love you guys.
Yeah, bye.
Kenny. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh,
hey, how long's this walk?
Well, I've got to go out with the dog, like 5 minutes.
Oh, mate, if you get back before the end of the pod, then fantastic. Good luck with that.
Oh, you're going to be over in 5 minutes?
It's possible, Steve.
Oh, well, I'll stay here then and I'll ruin my film.
Okay, mate.
That wasn't me being moody. I don't care. I'll have forgotten it by the time the film comes out.
Yeah.
Let's do this thing.
Just cut him off the call, it's easier.
I'm just going to...
He's done that one already.
I'm just going to... I didn't cut you off the call. I removed you from the call. Right.
I cried.
So, Last Jedi news then. Potential spoilers, you have been warned. Did a Japanese promotional leaflet reveal a little more about The Last Jedi than it should? There's a source link there to the original article. Paul, you commented on this earlier, right?
Yeah.
I read this.
This is a fan thing now, is it?
I wasn't entirely sure because I think it was laced into something else. It was related to the idea that it was the biggest reveal in Star Wars history.
Yeah. It's very...
Well, let's be honest, Mr. and Mrs. Lucasfilm are not going to do that.
There's very, very peculiar language that's used, and this is a translation, obviously, but there's very peculiar language used that I don't think would make its way out in a press kit. So this could be that somebody's being hyperbolic with they're taking a bit of license and it's hyperbole around assumptions they're making about the movies. But this is what the leaflet says. This is, like I say, it's a translation. The most shocking truth in Star Wars history will soon be revealed. That's the heading. A new generation's tale of the struggles of light and dark, virtue and evil has begun with the death of Han Solo. In a galaxy where the First Order and the Resistance are fighting against each other in a war, the heroine Rey had the Force awaken within her. What will happen to the galaxy when Rey and the only remaining Jedi, Luke Skywalker, meet? Kylo Ren has fallen to the dark side of the Force and killed his father, Han Solo, as a successor to his grandfather Darth Vader and a high-ranking enforcer in the First Order. Where will his ambition lead him? Furthermore, Kylo Ren's mother, leader of the Resistance, Leia, Poe, Finn, and BB-8 will embark on a new mission. The story has finally begun, and it will lead to a mysterious climax. So people are sort of suggesting that this is a hint that this film will out I Am Your Father, the I Am Your Father, revealing Empire. So what do you take from this? I know you guys have probably only just seen this, and I've had a bit more time to
I haven't seen that extended text. I'm going to be very controversial in a second.
Steve?
Well, I only read the top bit, and then I stopped reading it because it was on a link, and I read the most shocking truth in Star Wars history. I thought, I don't want to read anymore.
Right.
But, I don't think it gives that much away, really, does it?
No, we'll break it down in a sec. Paul, what was you were going to say something controversial?
There's a sale at Penny's.
Paul?
Not that controversial.
Sorry.
So,
can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah. You said you were going to say something controversial.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of not necessarily origin, because I don't know what the origin is, but certainly this one sheet, for want of a better word, where it has come from. Having lived in Southeast Asia for about 8 years, number one, lost in translation, versus number two, melodramatic, immediately come to mind. So this is to be taken with a pinch of salt the size of a house.
Yeah, no.
Be completely honest with you.
I totally agree. I broke this down on the Kessel Run today, and there's not a great deal there. I mean, we can go through it and say the most shocking truth in Star Wars history will soon be revealed. We're all expecting reveals in the middle act of a Star Wars.
We're going to find some reveals anyway.
Of course we are.
So,
and then you get a new generation's tale of struggles, light and dark, virtue and evil, began with the death of Han Solo. Yep, I saw The Force Awakens, so there's nothing new there. In a galaxy where the First Order and Resistance are fighting against each other in the war, Hera and Rey had The Force Awakens within it. Yep, again, I saw The Force Awakens. You're not telling me anything else. What will happen to the galaxy when Rey and the only remaining Jedi, Luke Skywalker, meet? Well, that's the question I've been asking since the final moments of The Force Awakens. So there's nothing new there. We're all asking that question anyway, right? This is where it starts to get a little bit squirrely. Kylo Ren has fallen to the dark side of the Force and killed his father Han Solo, right? Again, we saw the killing of Han Solo in The Force Awakens. Has Kylo Ren really fallen to the dark side? He's trying, but I don't know if he's really been that successful. He keeps feeling the pull of the light. He keeps being pulled back to the good side.
That's why I'm saying this is a third party's words.
Yeah, it is. It's not. That's not
nothing
stuff
official in this at all.
That doesn't come out in a press kit, does it? Because there's
no.
Kylo Ren or Ben Solo's fate is still very much ambiguous right now. Even though he's committed this heinous crime, it's still, I don't know.
He's going to kill Snoke.
He's fallen to the dark side of the Force. I'm not sure that's that clear at this point in time. He's a high-ranking enforcer, and where will his ambition lead him to? Okay, that's just like such vague language. Furthermore, Kylo Ren's mother and leader of the Resistance, Leia, Poe, Finn, and BB-8 will embark on a new mission. Yeah, they're not together though, because we've seen that much in some of the stuff that's been coming out, some of the photos.
Yeah, that's actually rubbish, isn't it?
We're seeing that Leia and Poe seem to be on a starship, and Finn and we know Rose make their way off to Canto Bight. So we're seeing lots of different things going on, but if there is a shared mission here, it might be to get to Snoke. And if their objective takes them off in different directions, it'll be like Luke going to Dagobah and the others going to Bespin, and then they meet back up. You know, we had this conversation earlier, they're going to meet back up. That might be what this is referring to, but the last line, the story has finally begun and it will lead to a mysterious climax. Well, we all expect there to be mystery. This is just hyperbole, right?
Yeah.
Marc, have you seen the poster?
Yes.
You have? Okay.
Yeah.
I just sent it. Steve, you can have a look now, because I saw this a few days ago.
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, it doesn't look very professional, does it? But I know that this is being designed to appeal to a different market.
Which one, the Luke one, Paul, or the... What am I looking at?
Can you see Lucas? Can you see Lucasfilm when they were on there?
In the chat, Steve.
Oh yes, the one with the Mandarin or Chinese writing, whatever it is, Asian writing.
I'm just opening it up now, Paul. I don't know. I can't.
And what am I looking at distinctly, Paul, in there?
We're looking to see if it's got any references to Lucasfilm.
See if it's kosher, really.
I don't think it will have, no.
No, I can't. You've got
StarWarsJP.com.
I'm going on there now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced by any of this.
If you go to StarWarsJP.com, it reroutes you to StarWars.Disney.co.jp.
Right.
So it takes you to this, what appears to be a possibly third-party Japanese Disney Star Wars site. That could be kosher.
Yeah, the other things are that these images are lifted straight out the trailer, and the logo that's being used is the Force Awakens logo, not the Last Jedi logo. The Last Jedi logo is red.
The best imagery, is it?
Yeah, this is a load of rubbish.
Yeah, it's I think it's deliberately vague. The language is very hyperbolic, and the first half of it is all references to the Force Awakens, and the bottom half of it are things you could pick up from the trailer. So yeah, I don't know. As much as I love to think that any of this stuff,
and obviously we're looking at a "I'm your father" type level reveal, because that's what people want, and they know this. If they don't, they've missed the trick.
Yeah, we will get something like that. We are going to get this. Will be like a major gut punch. This movie, whatever we see in it, is going to be a very, very affecting. But yeah, I'm going to write this leaflet off as an interesting curio on the path to The Last Jedi. Right, on the subject of The Last Jedi, so hackers have a Disney film, and they're suggesting, reports are suggesting it could be The Last Jedi. Hackers have it, and they're demanding a sum of Bitcoin as ransom, or they're going to release parts of the movie. I think they're talking about 20-minute chunks of the movie. I was interested.
I don't believe this.
You don't believe that they've hacked it and grabbed that movie?
No, I don't.
If they did, it's going to be a work. It's going to be a work print, digital work print. It's not going to be the final thing, because I don't think they've locked the print yet.
No, of course not. We're early days. We're 6 months away.
Right, we're months away. It's still in post-production.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that John Williams hasn't scored the movie in full yet either. So whatever they get is going to be bits and pieces.
Yeah.
The score,
let them do it and let them
the score alone can be as little as a week before the end of release.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Giacchino turned around the Rogue One score in a month, didn't he? So they could leave. I mean, John Williams is scoring now, but it could still be worked on for the next 6 months.
Easily.
I'm just interested to know. Sorry, Steve.
No, I was going to say, I say let them release it. If they bow down to it, then they're setting a precedent, aren't they? So they let them release it and then let them get caught and let them go to jail. And no, I would not watch it.
No, that was my question. That's the main purpose of me bringing this up, actually, is if this was to leak, would you see it?
No. The funny thing is they're demanding Bitcoin.
I know, it's weird. Isn't it a weird thing?
Might as well ask for Lego bricks.
What a strange period we live in human history.
Would I watch it? No. Because I think it's a non-story anyway. So.
I think it's a non-story, and I think the people that the minority that would watch it, they're not Star Wars fans. They're not going to be affected by that film the same way we are anyway. So
I can't think of anyone listening to this podcast
who would,
if they really were introspective, would say yes, I'd watch it.
Yeah, I've asked a few, because this is something I brought up on a Kessel Run earlier this week, and I asked it, and the guys all commented in the VIP group, no, they wouldn't watch this film until it was complete and they were in an auditorium with an audience enjoying it the way it was intended to be viewed. So I'm glad that that's the response I got. It wouldn't spoil it for me if I saw it, because when I do see that film complete, it's no different to me like watching every piece of promotional material they release. I see a healthy chunk of the movie anyway, 20 minutes or whatever. It wouldn't spoil the experience for me, but I would much rather preserve it, just out of respect more than anything else, I think. Yeah. Respect for the filmmakers and the effort that goes into these things. I'm glad you feel the same way. All right. Last couple of bits then. Han Solo, a Star Wars story, or Untitled, a Star Wars story. So some Han Solo images hit the internet whilst we were recording last week, actually. I think we discussed a few of these.
Yeah, we saw these last week.
We did, but I wanted to just kick a couple of these bits around because some more information has come out about these in the meantime. So I pointed out last week, just after these images came out, that illustration of Han Solo on the drawings there possibly isn't. I know a lot of people were saying, this is what his hair's going to look like and this is what his jacket's going to look like. I don't think so. I think that's Bespin Han with Alden Ehrenreich's face slapped on it. I think that drawing is just for scale.
Particularly like the cigarette packet with the bad gum.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
So that's a bike that you sit on the right end.
That is a swoop, what we call a swoop bike in Star Wars.
So it's a little bit like an indoor thingy bob thing.
A bit like a cross between a speeder bike and a pod racer. And it's being called a bumper car. And on the designs, it's called a nest bumper car. Do you remember last week we spoke about Emily's Nest as being a location in the Han Solo movie? Thinking now that this might be like a racetrack, or like Boontareve was the pod race.
That's a sport.
So this might be Emily's Nest is a.
Oh, we're not going to have a whole scene on it, are we?
Possibly, but then someone brought up that the whole drag racing and hot rod craze grew out of smugglers like running booze during Prohibition, who were tinkering with their cars to make them faster, and the fastest drivers.
Yeah, but we already did pods.
But Star Wars loves to repeat these things.
No, I don't want to watch it anymore.
It would be pretty cool, I think, if Han Solo was a racer that fell into smuggling because he was quick and daring, and if this is how he gets his reputation. You know, Bob Iger said we're going to find out how Han got his name, how he earned his reputation. I think he was racing these things.
Flying solo.
Yeah, flying solo. So I think that's pretty cool. And I love the drawing, the design of that swoop bike as well. I think that's pretty awesome. But don't expect Han to look like that. That is just a drawing, a thumbnail sketch for scale. That's not what Han's going to look like in the movie, I wouldn't have thought. Phoebe Waller-Bridge has been told not to release spoof Han Solo spoilers. So Phoebe Waller-Bridge is an actress best known for Fleabag. She just won a BAFTA at the weekend. And she considered, apparently, putting out fake news, fake bits and pieces just to throw fans off the trail. And this is what she said on the red carpet when interviewed. As far as I know, I am in a Star Wars film, yes. I thought about making up a ridiculous plot for the film and just telling everyone that was the plot, but I've been heavily advised against. I've been heavily advised not to do that. Poker face it is, then, I'm afraid. So the obvious reason for not doing that is that she will incur the wrath of a million fanboys, right? That's why she's being warned. Do you not think?
Yeah, but wouldn't it be fun? Fewer cars. What would you do? I'd be leaking all sorts of total rubbish. It would be funny.
I wouldn't tell a soul.
No, I would be terrified.
Not even you guys. And
No.
I'd love to. I would
That's
want
why
to
we
see your
don't like
face
you.
when you see me in it, and I can hit like a secret.
Yeah, and the only naked character in Star Wars has to be Steve.
Yes.
I think I'd show you a photograph every day, but just be like the bottom right-hand corner or something.
Yeah. No, I don't think I could. I would definitely not want to risk it. I mean, we spoke
Actually, Steve, you could be in a film and we don't know.
So could you.
No, I'd tell you. I told you that already.
Oh. Well, so could Mark.
Yeah, because
Mark and I could be in it together as a pair of like Biddenden twins.
Hang on a minute. Is it a coincidence that Rob's not here tonight?
He's in a Wookiee costume.
He's in a gold bikini.
He's a Wookiee in a gold bikini. Have that big wicket. There's an image for you.
Yeah. You need to get your bikini line done, Rob.
I definitely, I think Miss Waller-Bridge has been well advised here. I think she would definitely burn through her position in Star Wars if she was to tease fans like this.
Yes,
if you're only in one film.
Yeah, but it's simply not worth it, is it? You see, like some of these actors have a great experience on Star Wars, like Marc or Carrie, and then some of them have a miserable experience in Star Wars, like Ahmed Best or Jake Lloyd. And it's often because of the way they're treated by the fans. And, I would rather be a Mark Hamill and keep the fans on side by respecting them and being honest with them than teasing them.
So you'd rather be a Hamill than a Now? Yes, you would.
Yes.
Yes, you.
True.
You didn't see it, did you?
True fact. No, I'm going to move straight past
when
it.
you get after this, look up Simon and Garfunkel.
I'll do that. I'm going to move on. I'm going to wrap up so that Steve can go and walk his temporary dog. There it is. All right. Thank you for listening to Talk Star Wars again this week, everybody. Your company is appreciated.
Big thanks again to Palestine for the amazing review.
That review was stunning. Yeah. I need to find out who that was so I can send them something.
Well, it was this chap called Palestine. I think he's got something to do with bees.
Apparently, he's no slouch in bed.
Oh no, definitely a lie. Don't forget,
that's a different review.
Don't forget, you can leave us a 5-star review in iTunes and take advantage of our wrong burgundy guarantee. Whatever you write in there, one of us will read, as long as it's clean. So if you want to promote your own blog or your podcast, that's the place to do it. You can email us your questions and comments at talkstarwarsinfo@gmail.com. It's talkstarwarsinfo@gmail.com. Or you can reach out to us on one of the many social channels that we're populating. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Now that I've used it twice, to name but a few. And with that said, gentlemen, where can people find you between shows?
You can find me on Wild About Nature and on Twitter, the same name, or Stephen_Ware. YouTube would be good because I'm just about to hit 75,000 views. Which
well done.
sounds like a lot, but it ain't.
Yeah, good for you.
Well
Seriously.
done, sir. Well done.
Yeah. You being obnoxious and all, that's really good.
What she said.
Giggity. Paul, where can people find you on Tinternet?
I really have to apologise for my one fan, but it's been a bit quiet out there lately. But you can find me on movieschoolnews.com, and you can find me in here with Marc, because I'm a permanent prisoner. But things will pick up.
Indeed. You can find everything Rob does, even though he's on holiday, so he's probably not doing a lot at the moment, on Twitter at RobWadeVision, and you can find him at emotionally14.com, where you'll find a whole stack of his podcasts and all other creative wonders. You find me
find him on a ladder outside your window in the dead of night.
Probably. I'll just check my window now. Yeah, there's no sign of him. He's still on holiday. You can find everything I do at talkstarwars.co.uk, and I'm on Twitter at talkstarwars. And consider becoming a TSW VIP, where I do a daily podcast called The Kessel Run. It's a lot of fun, if I do say so myself.
We need to talk about that draw, Marc, once everyone else has gone. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. We'll get that all squared away.
You have to take my name out now, aren't you?
Yeah, we are gonna be doing that that Hasbro 40th anniversary figure draw on Thursday. So if you're getting this on Monday, you've only got a few days. Become a VIP. Get your name in that upside down Stormtrooper helmet. There you go. All right, thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye now.
Talk Star Wars is a proud member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Find us at StarWarsCommonwealth.com alongside
The Tumbling Saber Podcast,
the Generation X-Wing Podcast,
the TSW Roundtable,
the Skyhoppers Podcast,
and the Nerd Room Podcast.
Head to StarWarsCommonwealth.com and take your first steps into a larger world.
It's a wrap!
It's a wrap.
Let's talk about Loot Crate. Are you on a quest for epic gear, housewares and collectibles? Loot Crate offers an epic range of pop culture items for less than $20 per month. Whether you're shopping for the geek in your life or you are that geek, Loot Crate is the best surprise you know is coming. Every month there's a different theme and new and exclusive items that you can only get with Loot Crate. Treat yourself every month or give the gift of geeking out to a friend or a loved one. You have until the 19th at 9 PM Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate, and when the cut-off happens, that's it, it's over. Make sure to head to lootcrate.com/TalkStarWars and enter the code TalkStarWars and save $3 off your new subscription today.